What's going on, y'all? So listen, girl, let me put this on silent because we're about to talk for a second. Okay? Because listen, now we're about to talk about two things that was on Netflix that I watched last night and just now. Okay. And y'all know it had to be good, or I had some stuff to say if I'm getting on this camera and I'm talking about it. Now remember that, what was that show? The movie, not the movie, the docu series. Oh my god, Abducted in Plain Sight. Girl, that came out like a couple of years ago. Okay, it came out a couple of years ago, and we knew what that shit was about. That was some crazy stuff. Let me tell you something. If y'all don't know, if there's any documentaries or whatever that's on Netflix, Amazon Prime, Hulu, any of that, y'all just hit me up and let me know which ones I should actually look at. Give me some suggestions, especially the new ones that's coming out or whatever, because I love me a good documentary. I will watch a documentary, a docu-series, or anything like that before I watch a regular TV show or whatever, because baby, it just gets me going. Whether it's history, whether it's true crime, whether it's, facts about this or whatever, music, all that shit, bitch, I'm into it. You know what I'm saying? But baby, the streaming service has been doing good. The streaming service has been doing good with these documentaries, okay, and these little docu-series that they be having on. I'm about to look at the DB Cooper one, okay. I've always heard about DB Cooper and how he got away with that money, and is he still alive or whatever. I'm about to watch that. But baby, now, probably like a couple of months ago or so, I had tweeted out. Y'all remember that shit about that documentary that was on Netflix about the little girl that got abducted twice or three times or whatever the fuck, with the by the neighbor who was fucking around with the girl, the mama and the daddy? Abducted in plain sight, right? So that shit went viral, okay? It was every goddamn where. I wasn't expecting. Like today, it has like over 170,000 freaking likes on it. I was just like, wow, I didn't expect that to blow up. So people was interested in that. If you have not watched that, go watch that. It's on Netflix. I think it's still on Netflix. Probably on YouTube too, but I'm pretty sure it's still on Netflix. But baby, I bring that up because then we get to another one. Now, that was weird. It was messed up. But it was a lot of twists and turns in that one that was just like, oh my goodness, this cannot be real. This cannot be happening, because after your child get abducted by this person one time, you'll think you'll take all the precautions so that something like that won't happen again, even though you don't know when things gonna happen like that, even though you don't plan for stuff like that to happen. But to have it happen again, and oh my god, and then y'all get involved with the person, it was just a mess. It was just, so I was just like, should I take this shit serious? I mean, it's kids, and I don't like when kids get hurt. I don't like that. I don't like when kids get taken advantage of or anything. But that shit was disgustingly goofy, unfortunately, because I'm just sitting here like, how dumb are the parents? Okay. But then I saw the preview for it. Well, I saw a flyer or something flash up on Twitter or whatever, for this series, well, this documentary called Girl in the Picture. As soon as I saw the picture for the picture for the documentary, I knew automatically what it was about. Something was gonna happen to a child, and the fact that they said a girl in the picture, I just knew it was like gonna be some. This is a trigger warning too. It's gonna be like sexual abuse and stuff like that. I put it off, but y'all kept on saying, Ashley, go ahead and watch that. I need you to watch it. If you watch Abducted in Plain Sight, go ahead and watch this. I went on ahead and watched it. I just got through watching it like 15 minutes ago, and I only needed that because I really was just gonna come on here and just start recording. But baby, I needed a break. I needed to gather myself, because the twist and turn in that whole little 1 hour and 40-minute documentary, okay, baby. If you have been an avid watcher of me and you have seen on a few of my other videos where I have said, if I were to ever become a parent, that child of mine or those children of mine will be underneath me and not out of my sight, baby. You're going to work with me, okay? Because this day and age, you cannot trust any goddamn body. You can't trust anybody. You can't trust family. You can't trust parents. And you damn sure can't trust strangers, okay? I would be so scared. And I think about stuff like this all the time for whatever reason. Like, when I see certain things, you know, I don't know, am I the only one who does that? Sometimes when I see certain things or certain people out or whatever, I just be like, with their kids, I'm like, I hope, I just be trying to look and study body language. I don't know what that's about, you know, and it's such a shame that with certain things, you just can't just go out and see a father and a child out together and they just having playful fun. Like, some of you could tell that it's just playful fun. And then sometimes you're like, if the child is upset or looking a little despondent or whatever, is something going on. Like, my mind goes there sometimes, okay? Am I the only one? And then after looking at this, I was just like, oh my goodness. So if you ain't watched it, watch it. If you haven't, fast the fuck forward, because we're about to talk about this, and we're about to talk about Lena Waithe's movie Beauty that also came out probably like at the end of last month. You know what I'm saying? But girl, so I have never heard of this case. Okay, I've never heard of this case. It starts out with this girl. They literally started out with a murder. Okay. Or what proceed to be like a hit and run, so technically a murder, you know what I'm saying, a manslaughter charge or whatever you want to call it. You know, I don't know the terms, I don't know the technicalities, but the lady was found on the side of the road, and she was, you know, somebody found her, they called the cops, they said it looked like a hit and run. Okay, they take her to the hospital. She's hanging on for dear life, you know what I'm saying? She has a little stretch of life left. You know, she eventually dies in the hospital, okay? So what wound up happening is, when they look at her body, she has previous bruises and previous, fractures and stuff on her bodies or whatever. So it's like, no, something about this don't seem like this is a hit and run. Why is her body already bruised up from other stuff? This don't make no sense. So now they're looking at it as this was a homicide, okay? So I was just like, oh, shit, what's going on? Mind you, when they found out that she got hit, quote unquote, on the side of the road, her husband wasn't with her. So she goes, well, the husband finally comes down there, and, you know, he like, well, I got to get our son, okay? And eventually passes away, and then the police, they just realized that something about this shit is fishy as fuck. And it's the fact that that man killed that lady. That man killed that lady, okay? And took their son, right? And so took the son, and people just start inquiring and seeing some things or whatever. Something happened where, you know, because they were not keen on the fact that this was really a hit and run and it definitely was a murder, and they're not really sure who he was because he was just so goddamn creepy, and he was an older gentleman. She was 20 years old. Keep that in goddamn mind. She was 20 years old when she died, okay? And, you know, she had, I think, a 2-year-old son, all right? And so his name was Michael. Her name was Tanya at the moment, you know. Tanya Hughes. Baby, they called DCFS and took that baby out of there and put him in foster care and put him with this foster family that really loved him or whatever. Now, this is what happened. This is how I knew shit was fucked up, okay? I just knew shit was just going to go downhill even further. When they said they took the baby to the foster care parents, right? And the social worker was like, well, what you need to do is, you know, you need to give him Pepsi to calm him down because he won't drink nothing else but Pepsi. Okay, so that's his little routine. I said, Pepsi? Pepsi? Baby, you giving that baby sugar? That they was feeding the baby sugar all this time. Got him hooked on that stuff, you know, fucking up his teeth and everything. I said the teeth ain't even came in yet, all good and well, and you got this baby hooked on sugar. Mind you, this is 1980 something, probably like, 88, okay? Something like that. You know what I'm saying? Something 89 or something like that. Either fucking way, it's at the end of the 80s, early 90s. You know what I'm saying? All this shit is happening. And I'm just sitting here like, you got the baby stuck on Pepsi? The foster mom said, fuck that shit. We finna give him some milk. And it was like, you wean the baby off of shit or whatever to give him probably a week or so, and it'll be good. And that's exactly what happened. They said they started seeing a change and everything. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. So they took him out of that man's custody because they just didn't know, something about him just wasn't right. But then he petitioning to get the baby back, okay? And in the process of this, because they are his temporary guardians for right now, temporary foster parents, bitches are shaking, temporary foster parents, so he's still getting visitation rights. The boy is literally saying, I don't want to go see that mean man, that mean man, that mean man. And the whole time I'm like, what the fuck is he doing to the baby? And I just got through watching earlier this like a couple of months ago the DVD, not the DVD, but the docuseries about the boy who was abducted, and he was gone for 7 years. He was gone for 7 years, and his captor, he wound up abducting another guy, little boy, and they wound up running away, and he wound up going back to his family, and then he wound up down like when he was 23 years old in a motorcycle accident. And y'all know what was happening with that. I can't remember the name of it, but y'all know exactly who I'm talking about. It's on Hulu, and they did they had a movie about it when it came out, and it was just a whole thing, you know what I'm saying? Tragic end. But, I was just like, what is going on? Next thing you know, they come to find out he ain't even the kid's daddy, okay? He ain't the kid's daddy. So they took him out of his custody. They took his rights away, whatever he had. And next thing you know, they still had him with the foster parents. And then he done came to the goddamn school, held the goddamn principal at hostage or whatever at gunpoint and said, give me the kid. And then kidnapped the principal and tied him up against a tree out in the woods and let somebody else find him and took his car. Okay, and took the little boy too. Now, eventually, when he got caught, because they was like, these people kind of found out he do shit like this all the time. These people, they do this shit or whatever, and they wind up going back to the same places that they always already been, right? And so he was trying to get a license. Come to find out, he had a whole bunch of aliases. Now, when they was trying to find out, Tanya's parents, the boy's mother, all of this situation, and she used to work as a dancer, as a stripper, you know what I'm saying? And they was at this strip club called Passions or whatever. I think it was in Oklahoma City, And so they doing all of that, girl. They was like, one of her friends from back home was like, that ain't no damn Tanya, that's Sharon. I said, wait a minute, what? So she not Tanya? And was like, no, girl, that's Sharon. That used to be my best friend up in high school or whatever. That was my best friend up in high school. She was smart as fuck. She was going down to Georgia Tech. She wanted to be like an aeronautics space engineer type of shit. She was just really pretty. Everybody loved her. They had different people from her high school that was friends with her, and it was like before her senior year, bitch, she just disappeared. She left, okay? And everybody just had a very much uneasy feelings about her father, all right? Like, he was just weird as shit, okay? And I just said, wow, this is crazy. It was like a whole bunch of signs that people didn't pick up on, because it's like, what am I looking for? Okay, what am I looking for? Why would I be looking for any signs that something is going on? But then this is a different time period, because nowadays, we can peep signs any type of way. We be like, something ain't going on. Something is going on and it ain't right. So they trying to go back to the present, right? They found out that the girl name is Sharon. They come to find out that really ain't the bitch name either. Oh, let me not call her that, because she innocent in this whole thing. That's really not the lady's name, okay? I said, so damn it, what's her name? What is happening? Girl, come to find out, this man who was supposed to be the daddy, that was her husband, right? The friend that went to high school with her, she had called in and was like, yeah, that's Sharon or whatever, and they showed her a picture of the man that was supposed to be her husband. She said, nah, bitch, that ain't her husband, that's her daddy. What y'all talking about? That's her daddy. They was like, no, they are married. I said, what? In the incest? I mean, come on. I said, Ricky Martin is already in trouble. You know what I'm saying? And this is not trying to be funny, but I'm just saying, we just been hit with a lot of shit this week, okay? A lot of shit that I wasn't expecting, you know what I'm saying? It was not on my bingo card. And then I go look at this, and I'm sitting here like, this man married his daughter. How is that possible? Girl, he changed the names and everything. He had multiple aliases, okay? And then the girl had aliases too because of him, you know? And girl, long story short, this man had this girl, and when they were kids, yeah, he said he was her father, but technically speaking, he was not her father because he had abducted her. All right. And so when that happened, she's growing up as if she's his daughter. The friend that was from the high school who was mostly in it, the girlfriend, the woman friend, I should say, she was talking and everything, and she was like, it was this one time, you know, I was talking to her, and she said, you know, I can't call the house, you know what I'm saying? I can call you, but I can't call the house, you know what I'm saying? You know, and anytime the daddy had come in or whatever, she'd hang up the phone abruptly. So that was signs right there that something wasn't right, okay? Also, she was like, you know, I couldn't go over and have a sleepover at her place because her friend's dad and girl's dad didn't get along, okay? Because dude went over there trying to tell him to give him a loan, and he was like, nigga, who the fuck are you? Okay, no, we're not gonna do that, all right? So it was like bad blood right then and there. But the mom said this one particular time, okay, you can go over there and you can have a little sleepover, but don't tell your father. I said, now, mama, the whole time I'm sitting here like, I don't know what happened, but I see what happened in the present, you know, that led up to her death. And then I'm thinking back, like, you see the patterns of shit that's going on. You know, he's weird. He's creepy. You know, he looks evil. He's getting into it with your husband and shit, telling him to give you a loan, you know, give him a loan or whatever. And you're going to let your daughter go over there and spend the night with this man and his daughter? Girl, please. Hell no. She can come over to our house, but you're not going over there to their house, okay? Baby. She said, now see, I go up over there to the house. They ain't got no doors on the goddamn rooms or whatever. They just had curtains. I said, red flag number one right there. Okay. Number two, she go up in there, they trying to change and everything. And she was like, oh my God, look at your stuff. What you doing with this lingerie? She said it was a whole bunch of sexy lingerie. Mind you, she's a kid. She's a kid. She's probably like 16, 17 at this time. You know what I'm saying? Because they were friends from like sophomore, junior year. And she was like, she's a kid. So why she had these adult lingerie? She was like, my daddy brought me this. And, you know, I just keep it up in the drawer, whatever, and all this stuff. And I'm just like, red flag number two. So they're getting undressed. Next thing you know, this motherfucker come up in there with a gun. Okay? What you doing up in here and all this stuff? So the girl is spooked as shit. And then he started laughing. And then the other girl, Tanya, you know, or I should say Sharon, they started laughing. She was like, oh, he just do that sometimes or whatever. And she was like, okay, you know, she freaked out because they half naked. They was trying to get undressed to get ready to go to sleep or whatever. Girl, why this girl say he left, came right back with the gun, told her to put the pillow over her head, lay on the floor, put the pillow over her head, and proceeds to have sex or sexually assault his daughter, Sharon / Tanya. Right there in front of the girl. Never touched the girl. And then the next morning, Sharon / Tanya said, oh, you know, Dad gets like that sometimes. You know, everything's going to be okay. I'm okay. It's all right. You don't have to say anything. I said, ma'am, you slept over there still, baby? Do you understand? I mean, maybe it was fear, okay? Maybe it was fear and panic and sheer, you know, all of that adrenaline, and you just like, maybe I should just stay here because what if I try to leave and then he try to come after me, come after my family or whatever. But she left and she never said anything the next day. They never said anything about it. Okay, I said, wait a minute. So this girl has, so that if he was bold enough to do that shit in front of somebody, that means this been going on forever. So I said oh, I was just sitting here when that part popped up. I just said, Now I know people that shit happens, but right in front of the friend, like you that fucking bold, okay, and you that fucking evil and disgusting. And at this point in time, we're still thinking that that's her dad. You know what I'm saying? So then come to find out that's really not her father. All right. This man has been in and out of prison. He has a history of abuse. He has a history, like at one point when he was a teen, he had raped a 4-year-old girl. Okay, so that's what he went to jail for at one point. You know, he was stealing a lot of stuff. He was just a criminal, okay? And he just did not give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? So he has a history of sexual crimes and, you know, kidnapping and molesting kids and shit like that. So you got in the present, Tanya/Sharon had got accepted to Georgia Tech, and she was so happy or whatever. And next thing you know, she can't go because she winds up pregnant, right? So we're trying to figure out, well, who was the baby daddy? Was it him or was it somebody else? Because he was pimping that girl out. He was pimping that girl out. And it's like, for how long has he been doing this? Okay. And then she said, I can't go to school no more because I'm going to put the baby up for adoption. But who going to take care of daddy? What? So when you was gonna go to school, who was gonna take care of him in the first place? I said no. The manipulation and the psychological fucked upness that was going on, I just said this don't make no sense. And this is how they get them. They get them while they're young, and they brainwash the fuck out of them. You see how them cults be happening? Oh my God! Did y'all look at Sweet Pray Obey? About the FLDS church or whatever with Warren Jeffs, and how a lot of them kids and women, they were like born into that religion or whatever, and so they didn't know no better. And that's why even to this day, some of them still have a hard time like accepting the fact that, you know, y'all was being fucking abused and this ain't right. Yes, because they started him out young. You know what I'm saying? And I said, that is so messed up. That is so messed up. He had this lady working in strip clubs out in Florida. You know what I'm saying? You ain't even supposed to be touching nobody, letting people touch you, but she out there soliciting sex from people and had to get herself kicked out of a freaking party because she out there soliciting sex because her daddy told her. And I was just like, oh my goodness, this is everybody was seeing that this is weird. Like, your father is telling you to do all this stuff, and she was literally telling people, my father said this, my father said that. And I'm just like, was that a cry for help or whatever, for somebody to come help you? Because she kept saying my father. It was like they're comfortable, and he was okay with her saying that shit without getting caught. Right? And then he took the liking to another friend of hers or whatever. She winds up dead. He wound up killing her, okay, because he got obsessed with her, you know. Baby, come to find the fuck out, they got married up in Louisiana because they had to go on the run because he had killed that girl in Florida. That's why they abruptly left, okay? Then she had Michael, you know. He wound up killing the baby. He adopted the boy, wasn't even his child, wound up killing the baby, and it took until he was in prison and in 2000 something, I think, 2002 or whatever, to actually admit that he killed the boy. Shot him twice in the head or something like that to make it quick. And then buried him along the Oklahoma-Texas borderline or something like that. They never found his body, but I'm just sitting here like, what? This is crazy. Then it gets even more fucked up because then we find out, I see this picture of him holding this girl that's supposed to be Sharon, aka Tanya, right? She looks to be about 4 years old in the picture, 4 or 5 years old in the picture. And immediately, it's the picture that they use for, you know, the cover art for the documentary. Okay, when you look at it, that's the picture that they use. And everybody that saw was just like, this girl is actually being abused. You could just see it. She has this look of, you know, she's not really there or whatever. It's just a look. You could just tell something is not right in this picture as she's sitting on this man's lap taking this picture, right? Come to find out, of course, he had abducted her. He had abducted her when she was around that age, okay? And so the backstory on that is what made it so pissed off for us. Once he got caught finally, they couldn't get him for the murder of Tanya because there was no proof and he never really said that he did it. They couldn't get him for the murder of Michael because there was no body. It was all circumstantial and everything. But they got him for kidnapping. They got him for, fraud and all that stuff. They got him for something else that gave him 52 years in prison, right? And so, and while he was already serving that 52 years, mind you, he's already 51. And then it's without parole. So he had to serve all that shit, right? So he was on trial, and what sealed the coffin, put the nail in the coffin, was the friend, the Sharon's high school friend. She came to testify, and he was like, the FBI done told you some stuff. That's probably what your opinion of me is because of what the FBI probably told you. She said, hell no. It's because of the lingerie that I saw in your daughter's goddamn room and stuff. And the incident that happened in your goddamn room, you forgot about that shit. And when that happened, that was just it. They said, guilty, bitch. Throw that nigga up in jail. Okay, throw him in jail. But then that's when the second body came up. They had found the principal's truck. And underneath that truck, it was some pictures and stuff that was taped underneath there together. And it was a whole bunch of shit. I said, oh my goodness. So many pictures of child pornography, so many pictures of, people that he had hurt, killed. And one of those people was her friend that was down in Florida who worked in the strip club with her that he became obsessed with, right? And there was a 15-year-old girl that used to babysit baby Michael, and she was always up in their trailer because they lived in a trailer down in Florida. And she said, I recognized that goddamn pull-out bed that, was in the pictures with that girl in it. That's definitely him. He definitely did that shit. And had somebody blow up the damn trailer when they left. So that I said, what? After he killed that girl. And so they got him for first-degree murder on her. But never could they get him on Michael's death nor Sharon's death, okay? So at this point, since they already got him in jail, we finally found out it was this guy who was trying to do a book, and it was so many people that was on the case that was trying so hard to find out what happened to Michael and find the identity of his mother. They couldn't find it before they retired. But then there was this guy who wanted to do this book. And he thought, let's go down there, talk to the guy. I think his name was Floyd or whatever. He don't deserve any mention. He's Anyway, he up in jail. He never would say, okay? He never would say who the girl was or what happened to the boy. So the book came out. It renewed interest. People, have you remember this show, Don't Fuck with Cats, that's on Netflix too? And the internet slots and all that shit that be going around doing the internet detective things. It was a whole bunch of them that did the same thing in this case, right? So that led to like DNA, websites and stuff like that popping up. And then they got a tip. The most reliable tip was the fact that Sharon had a daughter. I said, now hold the fuck up. Y'all can't just be hitting me with this left and right. Man, Sharon was only 20 when she died, okay? I said, a daughter? Now, bitch, we knew about Michael. We knew about and mind you, the whole time I'm thinking that baby Michael was the one that she was already pregnant with, right? When she said she was pregnant in high school and she couldn't go to college because she was pregnant. She said she was going to give birth to that baby and give him up for adoption. But then come to find out, they said it was like 3 siblings that she had. She had 3 kids. And it's like, where's the other sibling? Or was it a possible 3rd sibling? And they're not sure about it. But he came first. And then baby Megan, they got put up for adoption. And, they basically, he just wanted money. And when the adopted mother came in there and was talking to her when she gave birth, she was like, I can tell that something is wrong, but I just wish she would have said something. And I know people, and that's the thing with abuse or whatever. Like when you go back and you watch P-Valley, and I know people are upset or getting annoyed with the whole Keyshawn and Derek storyline, and they're talking about something, damn, I just wish she'd go ahead and go. Go ahead and go. Y'all have to understand that if it was just that easy to pick up and go for a lot of people in these abusive relationships, they would have been gone, okay? It's a psychological thing. It's an emotional thing. It's a security thing, you know what I'm saying? It's like, if I leave, will he be able to find me? You know what I'm saying? Will I be safe? okay? But if I leave, or it's just a lot. It's just a lot. It's so many factors. With this person, would they believe me? Because, oh, he don't look like the type that'll do this. He don't look like the type that'll do that. And so it's just a lot that go into it. So you just can't be like, well, why didn't she leave? Why didn't she leave? Obviously, if she could truly leave and feel safe with leaving, they would have did that already, you know. But that's probably why she didn't speak up. But then, these FBI detectives later on, they went down there and spoke to the dude up in jail, and he finally broke down, said what happened to Michael, that he killed him, and said that the girl name was actually Suzanne. And she was from fucking Michigan, bitch. And the way that he met her mama in a goddamn church. In a goddamn church. I said, you brought your evil ass up into that church and you sucked your into that woman, okay? Had her believing that you was gonna be there for her and everything. Now, see, her mama, mind you, he had told Suzanne that the mama was dead. That the mama got hit by a car too, just like she did, allegedly. The parents were both alive, okay? And at this moment, it's like you can't blame people, but I was with the dancer that was at the club that was out there in Florida. She said, the Moon Venus Club or whatever, Moon Venus, she said, I'm not here for what the mama said, the biological mama said or whatever, because I feel as though she could have did way more to try to find her daughter. It ain't got nothing to do with you not having money, because I was adopted too. I was gone for 5 years. And in those 5 years, my mama put all her money and everything that she had to try to find me. She talked to the mayors and all the politicians, everything to try to find me, and eventually found me. Okay? And, it was like, there's a way. There's a way. That lady wasn't looking for her for no 15 years. The girl was gone for 15 years, okay? And when they had talked to her daughter, Suzanne's daughter, Suzanne, who is Tanya / Sharon, okay, talked to her daughter, and she found out about it. It's like, at this point, I'm trying to understand. I'm pretty sure that he never fathered any of her kids, her abductor. I'm pretty sure it was probably the men that he made her sleep with for money. He had her out there hoeing around to take care of him. I said, ain't this about a fucking bitch? And when they actually talked about the mama gave a little story about how, she met the high school sweethearts, her husband at the time, Suzanne's father, her high school sweetheart, they was 18 years old when they got married, and as soon as they got married, she wound up getting pregnant. She had Suzanne. He had to go overseas to Vietnam, and things kind of changed after that. And so when he came back, come to find out, Suzanne mama was out here fucking around with another man, wanted to divorce the daddy, okay? And then she got with this man, had 2 kids, and then something else happened that she wasn't with the man no more. She winds up meeting old boy at the church because she was going through it. Like, it came to a point that mentally she was exhausted, and she just knew that she could not take care of these kids, and she tried to take them down to children's services. And this goes to show how things were so different because they lacked the technology, they lacked the information and the way to talk to people, you know what I'm saying, and to infer and to care. And even to this day, it's some things that still, the way that they be acting back then, they still kind of do it to this day, because there's a lot of kids that be slipping through the cracks because people don't want to take their job seriously and actually take initiative to actually look into trying to find out what's really going on and to protect these kids, okay? She was like, girl, just take your ass down there to the church and pray. I said, excuse me? Excuse me? So they put the kids in the orphanage or whatever, but it came to a point where she had, like, it was 3 daughters, 2 by another man. Suzanne was by her first husband. And the father was contacted, her first husband, and basically was saying that the kids are really close. So what they're trying to do is keep them together. So either you can take all 3 of them, or you won't be able to take either none of them. He had to make the decision to say take none of them because he was 23 years old, unemployed, and living at home with his parents, okay? And I said, wow. I know he wished that he probably could have just said, fuck that shit, I'm going to take them all 3. But I understood because it's just him. But, it still could have been a way that they could have did that, I feel like it. But the mama, come to find out, they get the kids back, right? She gets with this guy who winds up abducting her daughter. The way that she wind up getting abducted is, or kidnapped. The mama went to the store, 7-Eleven, and wrote a bad check, got caught, got sentenced to 30 days in jail. And while she was in jail, that motherfucker took the daughters, took the last two to the orphanage, and took Suzette to Suzanne. I said, what was it about Suzanne that you kept and not the other two? Which I'm glad that you didn't take the other two. That's fine. And which you shouldn't have took none of them. But it was just like, what? Mind you, she said she started seeing signs as soon as they got together, that he was crazy, okay? And basically told her, you ain't gonna never leave me. You know what I'm saying? I was just like, oh, wow. And she said, as soon as I get out of jail, my kids is gone, okay? And I don't know where my daughter at. And, the daughter of Suzanne, she tried to reach out to her, and or I should say her mother, and she was just basically like, I mean, it is what it is. I don't want nothing to do with that. I said, so you just set your ass sitting here making it seem like you really cared about your daughter, but then when somebody, your granddaughter is trying to reach out, it's just like, fuck all that. I really don't care about that. That was old news. That's basically the attitude that they said that she was giving. And that's why I was very much here for when the dancer said that bitch could have did more. That bitch could have did more, okay? But I'm glad they was able to find her name. But baby, this just... I thought I was going to be able to put two up in here. I'm going to do a separate video for beauty because I got some shit to say about that shit too. But it just boggles my mind, the fact that people can be so evil. People can be so evil even to this day. And I know that, that happens, and this is the world that we live in because we are imperfect. But I just would never understand the fascination and the psychology of it all to mess around with kids. And I know the abused become abusers sometimes, and he said that he was abused, his parents died or whatever. He was dropped off as orphanage, and when he was in the orphanage or whatever, he was getting raped, he was getting beat up, he was getting all this stuff or whatever. Understandable. When he went to prison, same thing happened. But to take that out on kids, and it's like, sometimes it's like, it does not pay to be a woman in this world. Granted, we know that children, like boys, get, molested and hurt and pimped out and all that stuff too, but we mostly always hear about the women, okay? And I hate the fact that when it comes to men, people kind of like, okay, and you a man, take care of that shit. They don't want to hear nothing about it. They don't take it as serious, but that shit is serious. Unless they are a little boy or whatever, they don't take that shit serious, okay? And I hate that. But to do that to a child, can you imagine? Like, she ain't even really got to live her life, and her life is just fucked up. And I know it's so many stories that's just like this, that people are still going through this shit. Kids becoming missing, and people having it was some daughters out here in Chicago that went missing some years ago, over 10 years ago. Sisters, I should say. And don't be black. Don't be a person of color. Baby. Oh, you hear all them stories about the black girls. That's what I was getting at. Because these are black sisters that went missing. They was real young and never found them. We don't know if they're alive. We don't know if they're dead. We don't know nothing, okay? When you get to like the indigenous population, indigenous people, the Native American women that be coming up missing, and don't nobody give a fuck about that. And I mean, when they tell you they don't give a fuck, they don't give a fuck. And I hate that. And we see so many movies, so many docuseries, so many TV shows about it that incorporate that, and you would think something would happen, and nothing. They still have that happening. These women just becoming missing as if nobody gives a damn about them, because that's true. That's true. I said that don't make no sense. But let it be a little white girl I'm sorry to say it like that. We seen that shit happen. We seen it happen. That social media influencer girl, the little white girl, Gabby or whatever, you know, she went missing and then she wound up getting killed, and it was her boyfriend who did the shit, and all the fucking attention they got on that. No shade, it should have had that attention. But then we talk about the black girl who got killed by the date or whatever, the white guy, and nobody says nothing. They talked about it for a couple of weeks and they covered up some shit and nobody said nothing. Like, nobody said nothing about it. And they just basically trying to make it seem as if it was an accident and she died. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. And this make, like, y'all got to protect y'all kids, okay? Y'all can't have people. Keep your kids close. And don't let everybody around your goddamn kids. Just, I'm telling you, my mind's too fucking fragile. For a paranoid ass bitch like me, I didn't need to see nothing like that. I did not need to see this shit. But it was good. I will never watch that shit again. But it was good, okay? I tell y'all to go sit down and watch that stuff and just be like, oh. And again, if y'all got some more documentaries or whatever that's on, you know, Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime, you know, y'all tell me, put it down in the comments so I can get, I got some time, a couple of months or whatever before the regular TV schedule come back on, so I got a little bit of time to watch shit over my break at work. So y'all tell me how y'all felt about this. Oh, how did that make you feel, y'all? Put it down in the comments. Let's talk. Peace.